this quarter, I'm home, kind of. So I started my career in Anderson. And so all the partners in KPMG are really Anderson people. And I came back as head of HR in 2008. And so I'm honored that, I saw one of the partners downstairs, like, oh, you're here. Oh, I'm so proud of you. And that really meant a lot to me. So I'm pleased and humbled that they agreed to sponsor Meet Up. So please give it up for KPMG.
It's been the most exciting 1 year of my life. I cannot begin to describe how I have evolved, and I'm continuing to evolve as a person. I went into this with the objective of, I had a question in mind: how do we help people become the best versions of themselves? How do I become the best version of myself? So that's my year-long development plan for myself. For us at New Ventures West, we say in order for you to have what you call long-term excellence, not just be a shot in the arm such that you're good now, but to also be good continuously in the long term, to self-correct. So there are things that you will do that have worked for you, and by yourself you're able to see when they no longer work because the environment has changed, and to do course correction, and to be self-generative, such that you're able to create new ways of being for yourself, new narratives you can step into, and to truly become, that person that you were destined to be. Some of us, sometimes we have this out-of-body experiences where we feel we should be doing something totally different, that I have a capability of doing this. A coach helps you to step into that. They create the space in which you're able to fully experience yourself and to just expand and feel that entire space that has always been yours. They're not going to give you something that isn't yours. They see what it is, they see the steps you need to take to get there, but they're never going to be directive. They're never going to advise. It's just to support very gently, create the safe psychological space for your true self-expression to happen.
Which started about 12 years ago. I used to be a serial entrepreneur. I ran 8 businesses up until about 13 years ago when I shut all 13 companies down. And I went on to the UK to study coaching. So I'm a life, mind, emotions, and behavioral change coach. That's a mouthful, isn't it? So I help people sort their lives out. And it's absolutely impossible for you to sort your life out if you do not understand how your mind functions. And if you have no control over your emotions. And we absolutely know that the environment that we live in influences our behavior. So I help people master their behaviors, and then they're able to move from where they are to where they're designed for, where they deserve to be, and where they desire to be.
And my niche, as it were. So when you start off, I think you kind of go in thinking, this might work, I might do well in 1 or 2 areas. And then as coach training progresses, like the skills drop, you're clearer, you're more connected, and I was like, I'm just going to focus on career and leadership development. So those are my niche areas. In terms of coaching, I currently run the HR Business Partner Development Program. Part of that also ties in coaching, even before I became a certified coach. But the difference is, it's mind-boggling. I'm sure some of you will probably see that happen tonight, when it's like, we're HR people, so we coach, right? People come to us, we're not necessarily coaching, we're more advising, we're more directing, we're more mentoring versus coaching. And so the difference was really awesome, because also, for someone who's such a talker, it just helps that I can listen. I'm like, just ask all the questions. There's no pressure on trying to prefer a solution or project yourself on the individual, because they will find the answers, because the answers lie within them. So if you remember that tonight, it'll be very useful. So I really do hope that you all kind of like get the taster of coaching beyond just, I'm a HR person, I like to coach too. I really want to crack coaching.
My name is Adeboye Martins. I've been a coach for quite a few years. I started with studies of NLP I think I started in the year 2000. I came across NLP. I went to study with Richard Bandler, who's one of the founders of NLP. Coaching. One of the things I do training coaching is to train into organizations, helping executives, helping managers learn to coach. It's one of the essential competencies for helping to develop people. It's got a lot to do with interactive skills and to helping people find what they really want to do. The interesting thing is that most people, a fairly large majority of people, have no idea of what they really want to do. They want to do something, but they don't know what it is. So a large part of a coach's job is helping them find out what they actually want to do.
What is really wonderful is the coaches that have already introduced themselves. We all come from different backgrounds, different history, different culture, different training. And if we add everything that everybody's already said, it kind of tells a story about coaching. Learning to listen, being empathetic, standing in somebody else's shoes, building trust, going to deep relationships. And so, as coaches, we all have a core of what we bring into the room when we show up as coaches. So I am a New Ventures West trained coach. I've been coaching for about 12 years. Yes, Jabril should be waving because we are colleagues. I primarily work in leadership, and like Jabril says, when I first started coaching, I have a leadership and executive background, so I thought that's where I'd coach. But the real world is I've coached anybody from motor car technicians to CEOs of multinationals to everybody in between, some people working, some people not working, mothers, and I have kind of learned along the way that, yes, I come with a certain history, so people judge me to be able to coach a certain group of people. But it's not necessarily true. It's actually just my market employ. So I have a long corporate background. What does coaching mean for me? I don't know if you pick up with the coaches when they talk, they start talking about depth, they start talking about relationship, they start talking about empathy. And all of that we do as a coach builds you as a person. So your coach is learning as much as you are when they're coaching. And that is just absolutely wonderful place to be in all of the time. So I am hugely passionate about coaching. It's what I do all day, every day, as much as I can. The principles of spontaneous coaching are actually exactly the same as the principles for coaching. There's no difference. We don't aim to solve your problem. So when we do this little practice, kind of try to catch yourself that you are not here to give a solution at all. You're here to listen. You're here to understand the individual, but you're not here to solve the problem or the challenge that we put on the table. Spontaneous coaching, when somebody says, I've got this, like I said earlier, I've got this challenge, I've got this problem, can you quickly help me with this? I'm not so sure. That's when the opportunity perhaps is there for spontaneous coaching. As a coach, whether you are doing spontaneous coaching on the fly or whether you've got a year-long leadership program that you're coaching on, you always ask the individual permission to coach. I think this is an opportunity for coaching. Can we try it? And if they go, no, I don't have time, let it go. But always ask for permission. Spontaneous coaching is quick, 5 to 10 minutes. It's not an hour, it's not 2 hours, it's quick. Somebody walks in, quick coaching opportunity. It's based on the premise that you as the coach, and you're all going to have a role of playing coach this evening. Good, it's back. So it's back here. Can I get it through there? It's based on the premise that you, when you take the role of coach and you put the hat of coach on, that you are deeply, deeply interested in the other person as a human being. You don't judge them, you don't question them in a certain way, but you're really deeply interested and interested enough in them as a human being to offer to coach them. Please clean the filter. That's the first time I've seen a projector say that. So curiosity, you wear a hat of being curious. I'm really interested in this person. I'm really curious about their situation. Your intention as a coach is to give the other person room to reflect, to think, to develop a different perspective on their own. You co-create that with them. And always, whether it is 5-minute spontaneous coaching or, as I said before, a year-long program, coaching is a confidential thing. It's based on trust and respect. So when somebody comes to you and says, I've got this problem, and you say, can I coach you? And they go, yes. You say to them, this conversation will stay confidential. You put that out on the table and then you keep it confidential. So Jabril and I are going to do a demo coaching, spontaneous coaching session. I do not know what he wants to bring onto the table. Are you okay for me to coach you this evening?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Obviously our conversation cannot be confidential because we have a whole audience to listen to us.
Yeah, I signed away the confidentiality thing. So, I've got a working relationship with somebody I respect a great deal. We're partnering on an effort, and sometimes we have these meetings that start very early, and I'm constantly late. No matter how hard I try to, get there on time, stuff just kind of comes up, and I don't know, somehow I feel very rotten about it, because I feel I could do better. I keep telling myself I'm not a morning person, but it's inexcusable. It's a professional relationship and it's something I'm committed to. But I'm just not able to just get up early and make the meetings.
What is the impact for you of this happening, of this kind of behavior? What happens for you?
It kind of drains my attention because I already know I'm late and I'm going into the sessions we were going to have anyway, and I just feel it's a bit disrespectful for the person I'm supposed to meet with, and it puts me in a funny place. I'm not able to settle in and get into what I'm supposed to be doing because at the back of my mind there's still that bit of, and the stubborn bit in me doesn't apologize for being late when I get there.
So it's kind of almost when you start, you're feeling unsettled, you feel you've disrespected people, you're feeling rushed, you're uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable at all. Yeah.
What have you tried to do differently with being not a morning person?
Not much really. I've just always tried to set my alarm a bit earlier, but even when I wake up early, I just find myself doing all sorts of other things until when I now realize, oh shit, I'm late again. This is going to happen again. And you think the normal thing to do is to call ahead and say, look guys, I'm going to be, but then I don't do that as well. And yeah.
So there's a pattern that happens. What does that pattern do for you?
I don't know. I just feel like I let myself down. Like I'm better than this. You can do better than this.
So would you like me to follow up with you in a couple of days' time to go? Has this shifted for you? Have you had the conversation? Would you like to have an accountability partner?
That's the only way to get done.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be your accountability partner.
Yeah, I'd love that.
You okay that we leave that there?
Yeah, happy to look at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. So we got to a point where he's going to do something. I did offer to be his accountability partner because sometimes that helps. Sometimes it just helps when somebody's got your back and says, have you had that difficult conversation?
So Ida is going to share some information with us before we start.
First question, what do you want to accomplish? Somebody says, Jabril says, I'm tired of being late. I could have said to him, so what do you want to accomplish? and it'll open the conversation. So you can just follow use it as a cheat sheet.
You know me, he said we get the same philosophy. Oh, get in my face, just step in my shoes. Win not today, tomorrow you lose. Stop your talk, so let me go through. Come on for my face, make I see road to pass.
Couple of observations. Who did more talking, the coach or the coachee? It's harder not to start telling the person what to do because there is a part of us as humans that wants to. And you think, well, it worked for me, so it could work for you. So I want to tell you that actually, you know what, we're all unique. And who am I to assume that what might work in my life will work in your life? So I'd rather give you the gift of standing next to you and watching you work it out for yourself, because then you never have to ask me that again.
You know how powerful coaching is? It's almost like you're a fraud. You do nothing, and then the person finds the answer. So all you do is ask questions. But it's important that they are very open-ended questions. And they're powerful questions. And I heard some people go, That's when you know that you hit them.
So during coaching, at all times really in human interactions, but during coaching, the real information is the non-verbal information. Whether it clashes with or agrees with what is said verbally, it's the main indicator of what is really going on with that person.
Yeah. So, incredible session. Well done, well done. And everybody was having fun, right?
Yeah. So maybe another observation is that happens. Some people go, their heads. And when you're coaching, you just watch for that moment and then you keep quiet. Because the person's actually going, oh yeah, actually really, geez, I didn't realize that about myself, and they are thinking it through for themselves. That is an opportunity for you to keep quiet. And it's hard to hold the silence. It's hard to hold the silence because you think, I've got to say something. So watch for that body settling in. Sometimes some people will look up, some people will look down. They won't be looking at you anymore. You know something's happening. And let it be.
I'd like to say, I'd like to ask, what do you think is the most basic thing you do as a coach? Listen. Beautiful. You listen with your ears, but also with your eyes. And why with your eyes? Because the highest quality information you're going to get is non-verbal. You know, so somebody comes into the office and you say, how are you? I'm fine. You could take the verbal, I'm fine, or you could look and you know, this person's anything but fine.
We had a great time back here, and I think the most amazing piece to watch was the fact that even though people were sat in a group, you could feel the quality of the connection because there was no interference from what was happening, you know, just right next to them, and that is lovely to watch, especially when you see two people like Ade would usually see who have created rapport. It was amazing to see. And then on the issue of an accountability partner, something very brilliant happened here also. So rather than have the coach as my accountability partner, people look for support from home. So who might help you do this? Who might support you in this? And some people pick their husbands, which should be number one really, and kudos to you guys.
Just in addition to what everyone else has said, what you find also really important when you coach is really holding the other person's agenda, which is what I also saw. A lot of people, in fact, no matter how close you went to them, it seemed like you couldn't really hear, but the person you were coaching was connecting with them. So holding the person's agenda is also very important because you're like, it doesn't matter what it is that they're going through, I'm just going to listen and not judge. So that's also very important. What I found also that came through was, I think as we got comfortable into it, some people were like, so tell me. So, and that may happen a few times as you start, but as you warm up into it and you get more experience, you will just jump right into the questioning versus, so tell me this and so tell me that.
What would you like us to do with?
So I have an ongoing project, multiple projects actually, a couple of things that are happening, and seems like I'm being pulled in different directions. So I'm getting overwhelmed, it seems. From a time management perspective, not from a work perspective or functional capability perspective, just a lot is coming at me at the same time, it seems. And so, yeah, so that it kind of gets to me, because after a while seems like I'm numbing it out and just not being present. And that eats into also my personal life in terms of I then work late and I wake up sometimes late to my mind, and then I don't do the things, I'm not centering, I'm not meditating, So it's like, I think that it's spiraling out of control.
Congratulations. The fact that you're working on a couple of good projects.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Blessed.
You feel blessed?
Yeah.
Okay. But this blessing is making you feel somewhat overwhelmed?
Well, sometimes I feel like not the blessing in itself, just all of the other things I have to then catch up on. This seems like a lot is coming at me. And not just work related, there's also the parts where like my personal life and people who I had to connect with, and people who, even some of the clients who I used to support, and maybe are smaller now, I just don't want them to feel like you've abandoned us, So it's almost like trying to share myself across board, yet not having enough time for myself. If that makes sense.
So, just to give you some feedback based on what I think I'm hearing, one is you're happy with the work, but it's the things around the outcomes of other things.
Yes.
So the work is taking some more time.
Yes.
You're unable to give more time to other things.
Yes.
So what specifically are the things that are very important to you that you'd like to give more time to, that you're unable to give more time to now?
Okay, so I'm struggling with meditating, and sometimes if I sleep late, I will wake up and then not pray. So that I'm struggling with as well. Sometimes as well, in terms of work or tiredness or numbness from everything that's happening, I would really like to exercise, and I don't get into that as well.
Okay,
and
so it's about meditation.
Yes.
You'd like more time to meditate.
Yes.
You'd like more time to exercise.
Yes.
Are there any other things?
I
that
just
you'd
spend
like
time
more time?
meditation and prayer, but I kind of see it differently. Yeah, so there's prayer, then there's the meditation, then there's the exercise. And there's also just time for families and friends. Sometimes like, oh, I've been calling you, you don't return calls, or you're not returning, it's taking you 2 days to return calls. And, so again, there are my friends and my family that I'm not responding to as quickly as like I would have loved to. I feel like I'm more in control of my day. I think I'm more connected.
Then what?
Then what?
When you feel more in control, when you feel more connected, then what?
Then I'm more in control, I'm more connected.
Then what?
I don't guilt myself, maybe, I think.
So you're more in control, you're more connected, then you're not feeling guilty. Then what?
Then I'm more in control.
What does control do for you?
Oh, no. Is it not time up yet?
As Rene said earlier, each coaching experience is a learning opportunity also for the coach. And that's a way a coach can stay, bearing that in mind, can stay in the coaching mode and not get all, oh, this is the way to do it. Hey, that happened to you? Hey, let me tell you my own story.
I think again about the whole thing around passion and just sticking to it. If you really want to explore coaching and go down that road, you do the work. you will do the work, really. So, because coach training itself is difficult. It's hours and hours of prepping and coaching and being in training and, and catching up and it's just, but if you commit to it like you commit to an exam or commit to developing yourself. So I think also that entire process helps to prep you. I mean, will you do the time? If you can do the time, then you will do it.